Hey everybody, it's Michelle. This is going to be fun telling y'all about these. It is Friday night, it is a date night, and I have a collab of dates that people have been on, men and women, and they are explaining how horrific their dates have been. Some of these are not too bad, but some are bad. And I have put stars by the ones that are real bad. Alright, so, and there's a couple in here that are crazy. Okay, I went on this date with this person who spent the entire date telling me how much he hated his wife, but wouldn't divorce her because he hated her so much that he didn't want her to have anything he had, followed by the detailed story of her suicide. I had a great date I met on Match.com, and I was walking her home at the end of the night, and suddenly she started to run away. I started to chase after her and ask her what happened, what went wrong, and she just said, "Police, I have a warrant out for my arrest." Well, when I found out she had a warrant, I kept right on running, but in a different direction than her. I eventually got caught by the cops, and I had to spend a good 20 minutes explaining to them the situation and how I was in no way involved in her crack cocaine dealing ring. Dude. I went to the zoo with a guy. We rushed through the whole thing. He wouldn't let me see anything because he had a hair appointment he just had to keep. He was getting his remaining hair frosted. Second and last date, he left me sitting at a table in the park for about an hour and a half because he saw a tree he had to meditate under. Alone. Honey, I'd have been gone. We were on our first date. We were talking about our mutual friends, neighbors, family, etc. And lots of the names were very familiar. Long story short, I discovered that we were cousins. He didn't get a kiss goodnight. On the first date with this woman, she informs me that she is a witch and that she made her last boyfriend fall in love with her by casting a spell on him. She was even nice enough to tell me how the spell works. She took a vial of blood, poured it into his wine, and tricked him into drinking it. "Now he is mine forever," she told me. She went on to say it turned out she didn't really love him, but because of her spell, he would love her forever. She claimed that he was still desperately in love with her, even though she dumped him. That was my first and last date with a witch. My date went into major detail about how she was going to poison her boss and she needed my help to do so. I heard her out because I was kind of expecting a "I'm just kidding" response. There was no "just kidding" response. I told her I didn't poison anyone on the first date. I met up with a girl I met online, and things were definitely not what I was expecting. She was about 100 pounds heavier than what she appeared in her pictures. She was polyamorous, a foot fetish dominatrix on Craigslist, who also responds to missing connections posts just to troll people. And she is also homeless. I ended up buying her some cheap Chinese grub and dropped her off at her friend's house to stay. And on the way there, we almost managed to bond. Almost. My date broke down and continued to cry all throughout the date because of the abortion she secretly had when she was younger, and apparently she had always regretted it. All I asked her was how her day was going. I was on a second date with a guy I met on the internet. Boring guy, fast car. He decides to evade police while driving 120 miles an hour on the highway. Takes an exit, and I end up in an upside down 350Z, which had rolled over at 90 miles per hour into a stone wall and a telephone pole. Over a year of physical therapy, minor nerve damage, and I will never, ever internet date again. Ever. A guy asked me out on a date to go to a concert. He also brought along his girlfriend. I was mortified and very angry. I still refuse to reply to his messages. This one, I feel bad for this girl. It was homecoming formal of my junior year, my first date ever. My date picks me up 30 minutes late, realizes he's not wearing a tie or appropriate shoes. He stops at the store, steals a tie and shoes, forgets that he made dinner reservations. He goes on to order a $25 steak and says to me, "Why don't you just get a salad?" He forgot his wallet. He made me foot the bill, then tells me he had just taken ecstasy and ends up freaking out at the dance. He leaves me by myself, and I gotta end up calling a cab to get home. Did I mention he sits right beside me in 2 classes? Okay, after dating a girl for a month, she lets me know that she has spent time in a mental hospital twice. For trying to that's not funny. For trying to kill herself. It wasn't because she was depressed or anything like that. Just wait. She says she did it so she could enter the land of the dragons. As if that wasn't bad enough, she tells me that she still wants to get there someday. I promise you that it was not an April Fool's joke. I went on a date with a guy, and while we were driving to dinner, he got a speeding ticket, tells me that I need to pay for the ticket because he said I was distracting him. He then took me to dinner where he made me foot the bill. After that, he took me to a nightclub where he told me about all the other girls he brings there and about the one he was bringing there the very next night. He proceeded to spend the entire time flirting and dancing with other women. I then made him take me home and told him to forget my number. Hey, I would have said, screw you, I'll get home myself. Anyway, I feel bad for girls like that. I went on a date with this beautiful girl, and she asked if she could bring her friends. I figured she meant a double date, so I said yes. It was no double date. She brought 9 of her friends. Yes, 9. She expected me to pay for everybody's ticket. We didn't even sit in the same row, and I never even got so much as a phone call later. When I ran into her later, she said she didn't call me because I didn't talk enough on the date. At least I didn't have to pay for all 9 of her friends' popcorn and drink. Wow! Well, I do not have a date myself tonight, so I kind of thought that I would look up some really bad dates people have been on, and if I can think about what exactly happens on my bad date, I'll tell y'all about it. If y'all got any really horrific dates that y'all been on and want to share with me, if you do so, leave them for me in the comments and I'll see them. And I just thought this would be something a little fun to tell y'all about for those of you who may not have dates tonight. But I love you as always, and if you haven't subscribed yet and you would like to, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye!